Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Sparkling Form / The Office / The Metapod. That's a new one.
We've got new names for the podcast. We've been away for 6 days, just pretty much exclusively coming up with alternative names for the podcast.
That's all we've been doing. We needed
Nothing
to make
else.
sure we had enough patter to fill the hour.
So we've got the Metapod, because the podcast is meta by nature, but also that is a shout out to the legendary plant-based Pokemon of the same name.
Metapod. His power was Harden, I believe. Very memorable Pokemon, I think.
It's a good. That's a good power of just like he gets really hard, and then you can't hurt him.
That's right.
You can't hurt him.
Protected.
I'm safe in my hard shell. You cannot hurt me, meanies.
Quite a passive Pokemon, but he Metapod, quite genderless, I'd say. The Metapod.
Cancelled.
Dang it!
You misgendered a
again.
Pokemon. You are cancelled from life.
But doesn't Metapod turn into some sort of butterfly type Pokemon?
Butterfree, I believe, is that
Butterfree.
Pokemon's actual legal name.
That's true. How into Pokemon were you when you were a kid?
So into Pokemon.
Yeah.
Loved Pokemon. Oh my god, the cards, the games, the television show. It was all sick.
Yeah, it was good. I remember when we met, which is something that you've been asking in the comments, how we met.
Like, as far as how we met.
But what I wanted to bring up
Sorry.
was that when I remember when we met, I think you or someone else had a Pokedex, and we met at university, so we were past the age for a Pokedex. But I remember our conversation about it and being I was like, Pokedex, interesting.
It wasn't me that had the Pokedex,
It wasn't.
but I remember the Pokedex.
Oh, you
and I did have a Pokedex. For the record, I did have a Pokedex in my day. You just got sometimes in life, you just got to try and catch them all.
You do.
You've got to catch all of them.
Does Pokemon... let's not get distracted. So, as comments have asked how we met at university.
We did. We met at university in a spectacular display of kind of
Serendipity, you could say.
Serendipity, also laziness. I believe we were. I believe the first people that each one of us respectively met. So, you know, we didn't branch out far.
That's right.
We basically met not even on the first day, but on like the pre-day of going to have a look around.
Before the first day of university, when we were being given a tour around our prospective halls, we met before the tour even began, and that was it. Yeah, apparently we just needed to meet the first person at university, and we were like, he'll do. This will do, and we've been hanging out ever since. Really.
Well, the irony is, of course, we met. Had a good time, seemed to take a liking to one another, and then didn't see each other again for many months. Obviously, went our respective ways, decided to go to university, and then crossed paths later down the line through mutual friends. It must have been meant to be.
Yeah. Aww.
Aww.
That's our buddy origin story. It's a good one.
Do you think it was the buddy origin story they were looking for, or should we come up with a made-up, embellished version that's like really lit?
That's a good point. I mean, I'm all for embellishing my personal biography now, so that when I do inevitably write it all up in an ego madness of middle age, I'll have all the good made-up stories to put in there.
I'd like to think maybe the way we really first met is that like maybe you were like, at a really high-end outdoor sushi market.
Nice, classy.
Eating like one of the best platters of sushi on offer, and then I kind of like backflipped out of a helicopter with 2 Uzis.
Nice,
I
like that.
Was just like, who's got the bad sushi round here? And then you were like, well, obviously me. And then we became friends that way. But that's better.
That's classy and cool.
I'd like to think that's the sort of origin story that's becoming of me, and the type of cool dude I am that would jump out of a helicopter with 2 Uzis. Not that I've ever done that.
Is sushi trendy, or is it not cool now? I'm just curious.
You know what? I'd say sushi, right? Sushi was trending for a while. Okay, a lot of people were jumping on the sushi bandwagon, but then at a certain point, sushi fell out of the mainstream prevalence. Not that it fell off, but sushi is now in the hands of the true enthusiasts who are living life at the outer edge of foods.
This is true of trends that beyond food and fashion. Of just like, if something gets too trendy, you get a load of bandwagoners on, and then like the appreciation of said thing becomes inauthentic and uninteresting. You've got to kind of wait it out until the true fans, the people who were there to really enjoy the thing, are still around. And I think, sushi's trendiness has ended in the culinary world, and now only the enthusiasts remain. People who are like, I like raw fish on rice. Give me that shit.
Hell yeah, and that's us. We're the sushi enthusiasts keeping it alive. In case you couldn't guess, we went out for sushi yesterday and we really enjoyed it.
Bit of autobiography there. Yeah,
it was
Welcome
great.
to the vlogcast.
It was great. Yeah. I mean, so currently, at least in the UK, you're still allowed to go to restaurants. That might not be the case tomorrow.
I think it could even be announced today. We will have our restaurant privileges taken away by the government.
You are not allowed to eat food in a place that is not your own. Sorry, over. You will be slung into the gulag if you are caught eating sushi in a place that is not your own domicile.
It is amazing how quickly we got used to being told what to do in this country. Do you think English people are uniquely pliable when it comes to just like authority?
I don't know. I'd like to think I'm the sort of pathetic loser that will just do what I'm told. So, I like having the rules. One of the most frustrating things about this coronavirus shit has been actually like not being able to get clear advice. Because I would say that I would consider myself a little peon that just does what he's told by society.
Sure. Yeah.
I like to think that I'm a free thinking individual, but at the same time, I like following the rules. And to see people that aren't following the rules irks me.
I like to think that I'll generally do what I'm told, but that, free thinking. I'll keep my thoughts to myself when the authority's there. But in reality, I'll be like, oh, yeah, to the authority. But really, I'll be like, yeah, no, I'll do what you say.
You're the type who will, like, follow the general spirit of the rules, but do something a little bit against what they want to do just to feel like you're fighting against the system. But ultimately, it will be completely futile.
There's, in all these things, restrictions and whatever, the government always gives you a little bit of leeway, I feel, because they always, it's like traffic laws and stuff. You're not supposed to speed, but a lot of people will, and they'll just let it go. It's like they put these rules in that are just like actually a little bit unreasonable, so that because they know that it's unpoliceable, the people who are going to like push the boundaries a bit. So they restrict you on a certain level because they know deep down that you're not going to follow stuff to the letter. And I like to think of myself as that kind of person, petty in my rule breaking.
I feel like that is the grand, like ironic disappointment about life and life's rules is that ultimately the big. If there's a spectrum of rules that you need to follow in life, sort of at the deep end, you've got your murders, your other real bad,
your
real
violent
bad
crimes,
your naughties, your real bad no-nos.
Yeah.
If you do one of those, if we went and did a murder now, right, chances are someone will probably come around asking questions within a few days.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's the middle ground. It's the little crimes that are quite hard to enforce, right? That probably are
trying
never
to open a water bottle without
you can do it.
My microphone.
I believe in
you
yourself.
Keep talking. I'll do this.
That's all right. This is more pressing.
Okay.
That's how you lose a tooth.
That is not happening. That is not happening. Oh, well, I've got it, though.
Hey!
We need mic stands.
They've been on our case about the mic stands. I've heard quite a lot about the mic stands. We're going to get them. We're going to get them at Christmas. So
we invite criticism to do with the mic stands because it's clearly something. We've got a bit of, what is it? Not mic stand envy. I suppose I've got mic stand envy of more established podcasts. I look at those podcasts and I'm like, oh God, he's got a big mic stand. I wish mine was as big as that or existent.
Look at it. It's long and hard.
And flexible.
Flexible.
Also, his mic is better quality.
For some reason, in my head, I feel like this table is so low quality that I feel like a mic stand will somehow flip it over.
Yes. Flip it over. Oh, I see. Yeah, we're going to have to get some sort of like carbon-based...
yeah,
I think all physical things are carbon-based.
Carbon would be light. I don't know if the mics are going to be heavy.
Yeah.
Look, listen, we've got to buy new mics. We've got to buy mic stands. It's a whole process. We've got a bunch of shit we need to do to actually make this good.
In many ways, this is the early days, the dry run of the podcast, and we're lucky to be able to have you guys listening and watching in these early days while we figure it out. And it's exclusive that way. It will be the shitter episodes, admittedly, but they are exclusive.
This is why we're not really promoting the podcast. This truly is for you guys. Like, whoever you are, you end up watching this now. this really is for you because we're not promoting this. We're just experimenting. We're fucking around.
We're figuring it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are. We are.
But we're committed. There'll be many podcast episodes, I'd like to think. And going forward, there might even be some special guests.
Some special guests, you say?
Well, I'm not saying. Possibly like...
Don't say.
Well, you'll find out.
God, the real God, will be coming onto the show. Actual God. He's real, and he's going to come on.
It's happening.
He's one of the... if anything, the best creator of them all.
Yeah. The first creator.
The original creator. Before... I don't know. God. God will be here. Also, who will be here? Not really. Waka Flocka. Waka Flocka Flame, the
Why
rapper.
do we have a picture of Waka Flocka Flame in the middle of the podcast today? You tell me.
Well, I'm not sure if
Welcome
anybody...
to Show and Tell on Sparkling Form.
I'm not sure if... I'm sure it's very evident from the picture, but I actually met rap, trap, Atlanta sensation Waka Flocka Flame at one point in my life. And I just think that's very important. So I've decided to get a photograph of me and Waka Flocka together, framed for all to see, so you can't say that it didn't happen.
It's quite the haircut you've got in that one.
It's quite sharp.
Would you call that a bouffant?
Too much hair gel. A bouffant's kind of like something that's sort of... is that like the Johnny Bravo? It kind of goes like out and over. Whereas that's very much like that's a slick back with a bit of texture on the top, I would say.
It's bordering on a bouffant. It's playing in the same territory, I'd say.
I think, if anything, I would probably have gone for a bouffant, but it was gravity that was holding me back. Because if anything, I feel like with a bit more volume to the top of my hair, I could have been Johnny Bravoing like a real boss.
Yeah, that's true.
But at the end of the day, Waka Flocka, he didn't mind that I didn't have a bouffant, didn't mention it, didn't come up. So ultimately, it's all good.
It boggles my mind how many different hairstyles there are. I was thinking at one point of doing a video on haircuts.
Haircuts
in general.
That's a good idea.
I was just like, ordinary things, haircuts. Let me do that. But it was just so mind-boggling. I was just like, it was a weirdly wide world. I was just like, I had no idea what to focus on. So I ended up on the cutting room floor, the barber's floor, if you will.
Nice. Sweeped it into another video. Sweep some of that chopped content into the metaphors falling apart. But anyway, I get good.
Yeah, exactly.
Sweet. They're not all good. They can't all be good. That's why we're not telling anyone about this podcast.
That's true. I often think about the named. No, I don't often think about this, but I think about this right now about the named haircuts, the French crop, the bouffant. I feel like if you have a named haircut in school that someone can identify, you've put a target on your back. Because it's just like, bouffant, you have one, and now I have something to mock. You're trying to look good, therefore I'm going to attack.
What would a good, edgy new name for a haircut to be? I would like to go into a barber and just be like, hey, could I please have a rusty hook?
A rusty hook?
Or something, some crazy name. It's just like, I got the rusty hook. Like, oh, he's got a rusty hook. Like a bouffant.
Is there any new... people have been cutting hair for thousands of years in one fashion or another. The techniques have gotten more sophisticated in the last 100, I'm sure.
Have they, though? Have they, though? I would argue, right? And I don't want to shit on the hairdressing industry too hard because, they do a good service. But at the end of the day, right, you go in, you sit in the chair, they use scissors to cut hair off your head. Now, has that industry been revolutionised in the last 200 years? I remember as a boy watching Wayne's World and being introduced to the great technology of the suck and cut, if you remember.
Yeah, there's not been many advancements in haircut technology, for sure. Has there been any new haircuts? It's not like someone's like, I've just figured out a new way to cut hair. Hair has been cut in all different varieties, surely, by now. There's no new innovations to be made in haircut technology or fashion.
If Jeff Bezos wasn't bald, I bet the hairdressing industry would have been disrupted by now.
Yes.
But he doesn't need to. Maybe that's why he's bald. Maybe Jeff Bezos, he was like, you know what? I'm going to purposefully make myself bald through stress because then I won't have to worry about getting my hair cut. And then... finally, I'll be able to focus on my online bookstore.
What if baldness is the secret to major success? In that it's just because I'll be honest, I probably worry about my hair more than I should, as in general. And I wonder if I just cut out all that time, literally, I would just be able to really focus on what was important, like my plan of world domination.
Jeff Bezos, bald. The Rock,
Bald.
Bald.
Top of Hollywood.
Top of Hollywood. Ben Diesel. Bald.
Ben
Ben Diesel is bald.
That is a recurring joke from Connor O'Malley, who is one of our favourite YouTubers.
Deranged.
Incredible
Most
YouTube.
deranged.
If you haven't checked out his incredible work, then I really recommend watching Smoking 500 Cigarettes for 5G. I'd say that's his masterpiece currently, or one of.
That is one of the best YouTube videos ever made. 500 Cigarettes for 5G by Connor O'Malley. A masterclass in depravity, comedy, smoking cigarettes.
5G celebration. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. This is unrelated to the podcast. I've noticed out my window up in my room. I don't know if it's always been there or if I've only just noticed it. 5G mast in the distance. Can see it.
Oh, I know the one you mean.
Do you know the one?
Yeah,
Over that way.
Yeah. I've noticed it. 5G infecting your brainwaves, taking you over, making you buy stuff.
I have been feeling a bit 5G lately. You know, I've been feeling the 5G rippling through my my limbs.
That was have the 5G conspiracy theories, which were floating around the internet, and very specifically in the UK. It was a very highly UK-based conspiracy. It seems to have calmed down now, though. But for listeners and viewers who are not aware, there was, in the UK especially, there was some paranoia around 5G towers and the suggestion that they caused Big Rona.
Yes, the suggestion. Stupid suggestion.
But people were burning 5G towers down. I think there was over a dozen were burned down in the UK because of, not necessarily because of that specific fear, because, those people, the kind of people who burn down 5G towers, generally not receptive to interviews by the mainstream media. So I don't know whether we'll ever truly get down to brass tacks with what their problem with the technology was. But
well, people that want to burn down 5G masks. People that want to burn down 5G masts, generally not such a great grip of technology, nor the English language.
Nor reality itself.
Nor reality, nor the amount of teeth in their head, frankly.
To be fair, I don't know how many teeth are in my head.
I know how many teeth are in your head. I count them while you sleep.
5 seconds. How many teeth do you think are in your head? 1, 2, 3, 4.
36.
36. Good guess. I reckon that's maybe more than there are.
Or my teeth.
I would go 28.
28 is a good guess.
Yeah.
28 is a good guess. I like that. So, the 5G mast thing, right? Just jumping back to that for a second. When we went to town yesterday, there was a moment, I can't remember, you might have been in the bathroom or something, fucking around on my phone, I had the mythical 5G signal.
You got 5G?
I got 5G. My phone's 5G ready. And for a moment, for a brief period, I was plugged into the Yeah, I could feel the source running through the content running through my veins. Oh, I was streaming all sorts. I watched one meme loaded really fast, saw another meme, it loaded fast. By that point, you'd come back and the experience was over. Yeah. But it was worth it. It was worth the Rona death that I'm now facing for touching 5G.
5G is the loneliness cure. You've always got media when you've got 5G. You never have to interact with another human being again when you have 5G.
5 whole Gs.
I've been thinking about that a lot recently because of a video I'm currently working on about technology that sort of separates us from human beings. And I'm talking AirPods, one I'm currently focused on.
Very exciting.
But I've been thinking about other ones. It's a bit because of that. Like, I've been thinking about technology that causes social alienation. I think the self-service checkout is one of them.
That's a good one. That's good. Thing is, though, on the one hand, you've got causing social alienation. Oh, it's so bad. Oh, social alienation. Oh, people aren't talking. Then on the other hand, you've got actually people are finally allowed to avoid social scenarios that they didn't want to be in anyway. I don't want to go to the checkout and speak to the woman. I'm sorry. She's probably lovely. I don't want to. I'm a sad little man. I don't want to speak to anyone.
This is the thing. We're all in support of this technology because we all want the option never to interact with people. And in many ways, I feel like over the last few years, technology has been preparing us for the world of social distancing, which is not a conspiracy, but a coincidence, I would suggest. But yeah, I feel like it's amazing how much technology has been set up in the last 20 years to facilitate not leaving your house. I mean, imagine being in this pandemic situation and there not being easily available online shopping. It's a complete. It's
Disaster.
a gigantic problem in comparison to what we have. Like we have all this stuff that's been built up around us to prepare us for this event. It's almost like they knew. Who they are, don't know.
5G people, that's who.
The 5Gers.
The 5 Gers.
5G.
5. Oh my god, are you downloading that on Superfast 5?
5G.
5.
That's right, I'm part of the 5G unit.
5G unit. Yeah, that's sick, actually. That's sick.
5G unit.
5G unit. There's only 3 people in G unit. So 4 people? 3 people? Depends what era you're looking at.
Oh, really?
G unit.
I was very, I didn't listen to a lot of rap in my teenage years, but G Unit naturally reached me.
They broke through. It's ironic because it was kind of like you had 50 Cent. He broke through. He became the hottest thing in hip hop to have ever been seen in hip hop with his rippling abs and amazing cannon-like pecs. However, he
Was that his main selling point?
Pretty much, yeah. It worked a treat as well, it seems. So it went down well. Then he brought through his little cronies in G Unit, and a couple of them had respectable projects. Your little Lloyd Banks and your little. But at the end of the day, G Unit just never quite lived up to expectations. Partly because 50 Cent is a bit of a knob.
I like 50 Cent. I like his social media presence.
Amazing, legend.
He's good at sort of trolling people, but in a fairly inoffensive way. I mean, it is quite offensive to some of the targets, but I don't know. It just seemed when he does it, it just seems cheeky.
When he called that woman a cum dumpster, that was mean.
Yeah, that was horrible.
He called her a cum dumpster on Instagram.
Nasty fiddy.
Nasty stuff. Nasty stuff. But at the end of the day, if you owe money to 50 Cent, you better pay up, or you will be dragged publicly. That is the risk you take, taking money off 50 Cent. If I was ever in a scenario where I was with 50 Cent, this is amazing. Can't believe I've met 50 Cent. This is crazy. And he's like, hey man, you want to borrow a little cash as well? I was just like, hang on. Many have gone down this path and not survived.
He's such a fascinating character because he doesn't drink either, does he?
Doesn't drink.
Right?
Teetotaler.
Yeah.
Respect that.
I've learned a lot about 50 Cent mostly through conversation with you, but he is definitely a figure of fascination for me as someone who generally is less into hip hop. But saying that I'm less into hip hop than you is not really
I feel like perhaps most people would be less into hip hop than me because I'm a complete fanatic and freak.
Yes.
But that's fine.
I listen to hip hop every day still.
Yeah.
And yet I face your hip hop fandom. It's a bit like, I don't know. It's a bit like being with a high priest of hip hop nerddom, and I'm merely in hip hop church on Sundays.
Well, you've got quite a good broad knowledge of different cultural things, whereas I have a hyper concentrated knowledge in one very specific area, which in many ways I have no business talking about. If some people are to be believed, but it's I'd like to think that my hip hop knowledge is pretty top tier as far as humans go. It's
good to be an expert in something. Not many people get to do that.
Yeah, it feels
nice
good
to be an expert.
Feels good. But then again, also, that opens you up because, you ever find yourself in a trivia scenario. I don't know every fucking thing about hip-hop. A lot of aspects of hip-hop I don't give a flying shit about.
I feel like I'm quite good in general trivia situations. I don't do quizzes or, trivia games very often, but when I do, I'm pretty good. I've got a lot of useless information stored. Try and get me to do something useful with, proper information. I've lost you, but... If you want to know what year Jaws came out and who starred in it, I'm your man.
What year?
Now I've said that.
What year did Jaws come out? Who starred in it?
I'm going to guess 1974, but people who starred in it was Rob Schneider.
Yeah, correct.
That's one of them.
Correct.
That's it. That's all I got. You know what? That was a bad example. Usually,
sorry, I really piled it on there. I was joking. No, other people that starred in Jaws. Adam Sandler, famously.
Oh yes.
In Jaws, supporting role. Other people who were in Jaws.
Have you seen Jaws?
Tom Cruise was in Jaws too. Yeah, I've seen Jaws.
Okay. Jaws.
Just when I thought it was safe to go back to in the water.
I watched
Other people in Jaws. Sorry, no, I'm just fucking around, of course. I have seen Jaws. I know Adam Sandler's not in Jaws. Come on.
I watched it as a kid, and it left a lasting impression on me because I live by the sea, and I was just like, I'm not getting in the water for a few years now. I think that shark film has scared me. That old shark movie.
It's I feel like it's so smart, the genius of Jaws, that they made the sea scary. They turned the sea into horror. But what other things could we turn into horror in the same cheap, scary movie format. Perhaps some sort of supermarket killer.
I like that.
Film.
Yeah, make supermarkets scary. Supermarkets are scary. Have you ever been in like, especially in America, when you go to like a Walmart at 11 or midnight or something? It's one of those, long opening. 24. Are there 24-hour Walmarts in America? It seems like that would be the case.
I feel like many would be 24 hours, especially if you've got nowhere else to go other than Walmart.
There's something spooky about places that are designed to be filled with lots of people, but are empty or not quite. It's like the abandoned mall, of course, is a good example of that. But if you've ever been in like an abandoned theatre, that's always a good one. That's
weird.
I love that. Love that. Back in my when I was younger and harder skinned, perhaps, used to love sneaking into abandoned places. It's why it's one of my favorite genres on YouTube. I love seeing people like climb stuff they're not supposed to do, like take tours of Chernobyl or whatever, free running stuff like that. I love that shit. Love that because it's just like I don't want to do that, but I'm really glad that some people will do that for me to consume for free, and that is the beauty of YouTube.
That's the perfect way of looking at it. Because as a giant pussy that will never go and do stuff like that because I have far too much to lose. It's nice to live vicariously through idiots that are willing to put themselves at great danger for my own amusement.
I'm so glad that YouTube allows people to monetize risking their own lives. Like, where else does that? Thanks, YouTube.
Maybe extreme sports.
Yes, that's true. But it's so ordered, isn't it? That's what I love about, like, when you see these... you've seen that classic video of the guy who climbs the crane in Beijing.
Oh, my God.
Incredible.
Stop it. Stop. Get down. Get down, you idiot.
It's so tense and so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like, to me, that's one of the greatest videos on YouTube.
It's amazing. What a great piece of media. Would have been much better, though, if he loses his grip and falls to the ground with a big old splat.
I mean, that would be a
lively,
more
classic.
satisfying climax.
Why can't they all... They'll happen eventually to most of them, though, to be fair.
You do see it. You see they're always Russian, and they're always balancing on something precarious. Have you seen the one where they're doing the?
Oh yeah.
They're like letting go of your hands. Oh, grabbing it just now. It makes me sweat even thinking about it.
Makes me angry because I feel like they're taunting me personally.
Really?
Look, if you did this, you'd die, but I won't because I'm a fucking whatever.
I'm so good at climbing stuff. I can be really careless.
They'll fall eventually, and then I'll be safe in my house, having never risked anything, and I will laugh.
Watching the video on repeat.
Ha 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 ha.
Now I'm going to watch it in GIF form. GIF. Wait.
GIF.
So
I've peanut butter. GIF.
Is it GIF or GIF? I always forget. Because it's the one that it isn't. So it's GIF. It must be
GIF. I always say GIF. They can tell us the comments. Let us know. Is it GIF or GIF? Yeah. Just type out which one's correct.
Yeah, just type in GIF.
Yeah, GIF or GIF.
Because it's definitely spelt that way.
Glyph, hieroglyph. Maybe that's what it comes from.
GIF is what is it? Yeah, peanut butter brand.
Jiffy. That came up in the new Lemon video.
Oh, it did.
Was it GIF or Jiffy?
When did it come up in the Lemon video?
Because he's talking about things that people remember wrong, and he's saying that it's either GIF, but the thing is either Jiffy, and it's actually GIF, or vice versa.
I love that video. Yeah. It's so good.
Oh, Lemon, what a legend. Lemon, if you're watching this, which you're not, I like your videos. You won't be watching this. Why would you do that? But anyway, imagine Lemon comments, I was watching this.
Yeah, I was watching this video. It was really good.
This video was a real downward spiral from the 30-minute mark.
This podcast has been on a downward spiral since the first episode.
Since the very first episode, it's been on a downward spiral. YouTube doesn't want this podcast to succeed.
Niche impressions for everyone there. That's our impression of famed video essayist. Lemon?
Famed video guy, video dork.
Excellent YouTuber, former YouTube pooper.
A former YouTube
Lemon.
Poopster.
Love him.
Legend. One of my favourite YouTubers, actually. Love a Lemon video.
I'm always excited when it shows up in my Wrecked. Yeah. Single-handedly got me into speed running at Lemon and his content. Love a bit of speed running. Cool. Well, you like watching speedrunning. You don't like doing speedrunning. You're not a speedrunner.
I can't speedrun. I've tried. I tried to do a bit of GoldenEye speedrunning the other day. Was hard.
I admire it in lots of ways, I think. Much like, I don't know, it's just it's a devotion to the act. I just find that really admirable and interesting.
Just to go fast. To go fast. Everyone's dream is to go fast, whether at game or in life. To go fast. To press the button, which I have to do now. See how fast I just got up and pressed that button? It was as if I was moving at the speed of light.
Like a speedrunner, no clipping through the wall.
I just no clipped through my own fucking life to hit that button fast.
I knew the break was coming, so I had to like keep the good chat back because I knew it was gonna. I had something to say.
Next time we get to the limit, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna like get myself like really close to the edge of this desk until I clip through, and then I'll be over there pressing the button
already
at the perfect time. Yeah, exactly. Got to speed run your life, you know.
I'd like to know what's like considered to be the most impressive speed run.
I'm personally very impressed by the Grand Theft Auto ones. The GTA San Andreas, like 15-minute, and beat the entire game speedrun. My lord. How?
It's so community focused, isn't it? I mean, all speedrunners learn from one another. Again, that's another thing that makes it quite admirable. That while they are all competing for the top position of their respective speedruns, like they're all learning from each other, they're gathering techniques, they're sharing skills, and that's really nice. And also there's like no money or genuine kudos involved, so they're doing it purely for the love of doing things repeatedly in a pattern constantly.
Okay, so therein lies the most confusing thing about the speedrunning community and just the idea of speedrunning in general. Why do you need to complete GoldenEye 007 Damn on 00 Agent in 52 seconds? Why do that?
Why is that so important to you? But then therein lies the beauty of it, right? It's like those Tibetan monks who make like really intricate, beautiful patterns out of like colored pieces of sand, and then when they're finished with them, they just like wipe them away. It's just like the beauty was in the act, and that's true of speedrunning as well. It's just like the pure satisfaction of doing something completely pointless perfectly.
But the thing is, I feel like that's a really beautiful metaphor. It's a great way of seeing it. These Tibetan monks are making these like sculptures out of sand, but the reality is, what these Tibetan monks don't do is they make a little bit of the sculpture out of sand, and they just go, "I didn't do that fast enough! Right, like fucking restart it again." No, again! Do that for 9 hours straight until they've built something.
There's a word for that, isn't it, in speedrunning? What is it? When you like the start button.
Start and then reset thing.
You accidentally reset after you've achieved the thing that you've been repeatedly doing over and over again. That is like, as a child, I remember when you couldn't beat a game and it was just like enough petulant rage would build in you that you were ready to like hock your game controller at your mum's head.
Broken a few controllers. It happens. Does happen.
I think I've broken one controller. Like I think I pulled the directional thing out.
That's
somehow.
a good one.
Yeah.
That's quite a good one. That's like, fuck you.
That was surgical, like it was intentional. It wasn't like, oh, I'm angry, I'm going to throw the controller across the room. It's like, no, I'm going to fucking break this thing.
I feel like the classic is you get the PS controller, you throw it either at a wall or at the floor, and it's like the PS controller, it's got like a front side and a back side, and then you get the split. If you throw it at something hard enough, you get the split between them, that like the front and the back split apart. That's always a sign of a true dedicated gamer.
They've got to have like a lot of controllers. I imagine that the rage-prone pro gamer, I'm sure one exists, and they have just like had the foresight to buy like 5 replacement controllers in a little cupboard that they have to access.
I would keep a museum of broken controllers on my wall of just like, you know, the great Spyro 100%ing of 2004.
Yeah.
Like this battered controller that's just in a million pieces. Of like, that's the controller I got through Spyro on, or whatever. I don't know why I think it's Spyro.
There's a great like montage videos of people playing Super Smash Bros. Competitively, and they just like just rage out on their controllers in public. I love that shit. It's so funny. It's so satisfying.
Well, the beauty is, right, that when these gamers lose it when they're playing competitively, because they're all dorks, otherwise they wouldn't be doing it. They're not, and none of them are ever going to
Like
get into
us,
a physical altercation.
like dorks like us. Let's say we are one of.
I'd like to think that we're dorks, but also like.
We have to say we can call them dorks because we are dorks.
I feel like I would be more likely to get into a physical altercation in that scenario than most of the people you see in that scenario.
You reckon?
More likely. I'd like to think that I am above being in physical altercations at this point in my life as an adult
think
man.
If you go and watch pro gaming, it's like when people go to F1, like really you're waiting for the crash. You're waiting for the rage. Like everyone's lying to themselves when it's like, yeah, no, it was a really good race. Everyone got out unharmed. There was no crashes. But if you go to an F1 race and someone crashes and burns, that's the one you talk about for the rest of your life.
Oh my God, it was amazing. There was a massive crash. I caught the guy's severed head in a helmet. It was great.
Same with boxing, right? Why boxing is such a high ticket event? It's just because it's just like, I want to see someone get knocked out. I want to see the worst thing possible without feeling bad about it. Because I just bought a ticket to a boxing game. That's perfectly civilized.
It's a fight. You've paid to witness a fight. What do you expect? What are you looking for? No one's. That's why I've always found it baffling. People like, do you get like Floyd Mayweather? Oh, he's the best fighter ever. He's the best defensive fighter ever. But his fights are always quite boring. Because like, you want to see. This is why the Floyd Mayweather Logan Paul fight is going to be fire. Because hopefully we can only pray that Logan Paul doesn't make it.
Have you heard that Jake Paul's trying to fight Conor McGregor as well?
Yeah, the thing with that is it's like Conor McGregor, he doesn't seem well. Conor McGregor seems down bad, I would say.
You think like Floyd Mayweather in general seems like a decent sportsman, and he would knock whichever Paul brother he's fighting. I get them confused very easily.
Yeah.
But he would knock that guy out and be fine with it. Colin McGregor will tear whichever Paul brother he's fighting's eyes out. And so front row tickets for me, please. I can't wait for that.
Here's the thing that doesn't make sense, right? Jake Paul's out here saying, I want to box Conor McGregor. I want to box Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor should come out and go, I'll fight you in the octagon.
Yes. Now that would be spectacular.
Oh, I'll fight you. Tear your fucking head off, though.
If Joe Rogan was commentating on that, that would be like the ultimate internet YouTube event. Like,
oh my God.
I would
like, be amazing.
If I was in charge of YouTube, I would like find a way to make sure that is streaming available on YouTube. $10 you got to pay to watch it. Joe Rogan is commenting with Elon Musk.
Elon Musk's there. Elon Musk's there smoking weed.
They're just smoking a joint.
Allowed to do
in tech. Is Joe Rogan? I've not been watching the Joe Rogan podcast recently, but like he's not smoking anymore because he lives in Texas, right?
There still seems to be the consumption of the old substances on his show, despite living in a state where it is illegal. So who knows?
That's pretty ballsy. I'm impressed by that.
Well, it's just interesting because Joe Rogan has made that such a part of his shtick that he's the guy who smoked. Oh, I smoked with Elon Musk. Ooh. But like, he's moved to a state where you can't do that. And I know they say it's a bit more tolerated there, but it's just like I don't know. It's just contrary to his brand. I don't know whether that's particularly interesting, but like. On a separate note, right? People have made such a big deal of this whole like Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, a couple other people moving their operations to Texas.
It's been on my mind a lot recently. It seems even like in the UK, very far away, people keep talking about stuff moving to Texas. Oracle has just moved its HQ to Texas.
Is this a genuine thing where like American culture is now shifting away from Los Angeles, California to Texas or these interesting places, or is this just a little like people are just publicly showing their outrage for whatever they don't like the lockdown in LA, so they're doing this thing temporarily? I don't know. I wonder if it'll stay.
To outsiders like us, it's Texas seems like a bit of a question mark. It's just like, why Texas? Given everywhere else that you could go.
Seems a bit old school. I've never been to Texas.
No.
I would like to go to Texas.
Me neither.
You know, Texas.
I'd love to go. I mean, it's only become more attractive since everyone seems to be moving there.
It's weird. It's a bit suspect. It's like when all the influencers in England were going to Dubai, and like it was just like, this is someone's organised. It's like someone's organising this. Maybe the head of the state in Texas is just like cutting back from deals, giving everyone like tax breaks or something.
Maybe people are just sheep. Maybe the CEO of Oracle is just like, oh, Joe Rogan's moved to Texas, but I'm moving to.
I love the Joe Rogan podcast. Yes, I'll move my entire company there for no reason.
I reckon it's all Joe.
Apparently, the tax rate is way better in Texas.
That is probably the main reason.
It's like part of it. Apparently, Cali's expensive. I'm scared of the big one, the big earthquake that supposedly is heading for California any day for the last 100 years. That's what I'm worried about. That big one.
Just worried about earthquakes in general.
I don't know. Should I be? I feel like is that worth worrying about? They're quite scary. Ground shaking.
Ever been in an earthquake?
Never.
No. Yeah.
Well, there was a bit of shaking one night when I was in LA. Scary.
I've been in a minor enough that I sought safety.
Really?
Went to the corner of the room because apparently that's what you should do.
Really? Corner.
Yeah. It's like structurally the safest part of a building. Yeah, something like that.
In theory, are you better off running outside?
Yeah. If you can. I was at that time in a high-rise flat, so I was like
high rise in an earthquake.
It was in the middle of the night as well, so I was pretty shaken up, you could say. But yeah, it was quite something. Especially it was in a country that had previously had quite a bad earthquake, so I was just like, what if this is just as bad?
Oh my god, imagine being crushed in a collapsing building, just the roof like falls on you, you're just like, oh the building's fallen on me, I can't move, now I'm dead. That would suck.
It would not. What a strange impression. Oh no!
That's what I imagine it to be like.
I seem to have caught myself in quite the predicament. What shall I do next?
The worst thing would be to be crushed in a pile of rubble but still be alive, and you just are there stuck until you starve to death. Imagine that bleakest way to go out.
It's up there for sure.
You're just there like, oh, my legs are stuck between these two boulders. Oh, now I'm hungry. I need a snack. I really could do with a snack.
It's like, my legs are broken and I could do with a sausage roll of sorts.
Can somebody bring me some food? Help! I'm also hungry. I'm stuck and peckish.
I would get hangry as well. So even if someone like came to like get the rubble off me, I'd just be like, oh, hurry up. God.
We're here. We're going to try and help you. About fucking time.
I'm hungry. You know me well enough to know that I am susceptible to the hanger in general. I like to think I'm a fairly level-headed person, but if I've not been fed for up to 4 hours, I'm liable to get a bit grouchy.
Definitely the hanger. There's just different levels to the hanger, because it's like you can get so hungry that you get angry and you turn into a dick, which is obviously bad. But sometimes you can get so hungry that you become sad, lethargic. And it's almost like you just give up hope for life. You're just like, oh, I'm so hungry. I'm just wasting away.
Sometimes if I don't eat properly in a day, it's just like the day's lost once a certain level of hunger is reached. I've just like become indifferent to stuff. And all I really need is a sausage of some kind.
A little meat tray, a little salami, a little chorizo.
Exactly. And then I'm ready to go.
Ready
to make content.
I would say we could be described as cold cut connoisseurs.
That's true. We share many enthusiasms, but one of them is well cut meats.
Thinly cut, delicious pig bits.
It's the ultimate snack for me.
It's just amazing. Just putting away a bit of cold cut meat just on a, in the middle of a day, you're hustling, you got multiple things going on. Maybe you're a bit hangry.
Struggling with the water bottle. Oh, no, you got it. No, you used the thighs were the key to the technique.
The power of the water thighs. I did open one of these with one hand yesterday, and it was quite spectacular. See, that's the thing. It's really a test of the one-handed water bottle open, right? Okay, major test of the finger and thumb. Look at that. That's hard. That is tough.
He's got pro gamer fingers. He can do it. Come on. Come on now.
Done. Boom. Look at that. Tidy.
Achievement unlocked. Bloop.
That will be a category in the, incel Olympics someday. Is incel the wrong word? We're going to get demonetized for saying incel now.
Only on Twitch. So this is actually a good point. I want to bring... I've got some comments. I've got some thoughts on this. I've got some hot takes.
Some hot takes!
I got some hot takes. So Twitch, if you don't know, have banned the use of words like simp, incel, and virgin. Which, first of all, virgin is just... you're not supposed to direct it at people. So I think you can still use the words, but you can't be like, you are a simp. That's, I think... the line they're towing.
Who are they protecting, though? The audience? Are they stopping you from being live on stream? You've got a bunch of people in the chat, and you're just like, got a whole lot of fucking simps in here today.
I think the ones that they'll be focusing on is when one streamer targets another streamer with the insult. I think would be my guess. It just seems unpoliceable.
What if they are a simp?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Can't call a simp a simp these days, can you?
What if they're a self-described simp?
Self-described simp. Self-styled simp.
Well, thank God for YouTube that we can say all these words. You're a simp. I can say that. There. I just did that. Cancelled on Twitch.
Oh, I'm a simp, but you're a virgin.
No!
Got you.
It seems shocking, though. It's just like... On a real level, hot take wise, I think that's ridiculous that they could possibly ban words like that, because first of all, they are just like part and parcel of the Twitch vocabulary.
Absolutely.
And so that's the main thing. I mean, Twitch would be nothing without simps. Nothing
without our simps. The simp army will revolt. Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know what, though? I think the trouble with this and many other things along this genre of outrage or just things going on, terms of service, is just like, you can't... How are you going to tell me not to say simp? Are you really going to tell me you're not allowed to say simp? It's a word. It's a funny noise that I make by making my mouth a certain shape.
Twitch are like... They are putting a line in the sand, and they've essentially, for their platform, they've gone, these words are now slurs. And it's just like, they weren't slurs to anyone until you made that declaration. And now all the people who love to declare which naughty no-no words you're not supposed to use are going to jump on it and be like, oh yeah, now we've got 3 more that we can tell people off for using in various situations. It's just giving ammo to the wrong kind of, I don't know, discourse.
Totally. Yeah. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't want to start Jordan Petersoning up in here, but like, it's just like, no, I'm going to say simp. I mean, I won't say it on Twitch, obviously, because
I'll get in trouble.
I'll obviously get in trouble. Just in general, it's just like, yeah, they are essentially turning these words into slurs. They're quite funny words, simp.
They're silly.
You're a simp.
There can be a term of endearment, I think, for some. I mean, I don't really know if that's true.
What's next, though? What's next? Oh, Twitch have updated their terms of service. Now you're not allowed to call people losers. Oh, now you're not allowed to say anything about anyone other than yourself. You're not allowed to do anything anymore.
It's just, yeah, hate it. Twitch, reverse course. Otherwise, I'm going to have to make a video on YouTube about it.
Twitch,
that'll show you.
Twitch, you're all a bunch of virgins and simps.
Yeah.
Suck my willy.
Yo, shout out to the COO of Twitch. You are a big old loser virgin.
Hey, Jeff Bezos, you're a biggest simp going, homie.
Yeah, he is.
You gave your ex-wife like till 20 billion.
There's newspaper headlines of 4.3 billion his wife has just given to charity.
Big simping, baby.
That's the biggest simp move I've ever seen. Maybe that's it. Maybe this comes all the way from the top. Jeff Bezos, who owns Twitch, because Amazon owns it, if you didn't know that, he is telling all the simps that he is the only one. He's the only true simp.
I'm the only simp. Call back to the last one. That's how good we are at podcasting.
Yeah.
As if we are somehow connected. I don't know.
As if there is some kind of continuity to these podcasts, which there are.
As if
there is, rather.
Because we are still the same people who made them last week. What's it been, like 6 days since the last one?
I think so, yeah.
It was a bit of a longer break than
the previous
two, before which we'd never done one ever, so it doesn't really matter.
It's not really a pattern yet, is it?
No.
The pattern will develop, though. It will occur. People will be like, oh, when's the next podcast? Or they'll be like, I'm not saying that because I'm not interested in the next one coming out.
They'll be like, oh, yeah, you started that podcast that you never kept up with. Oh, yeah.
Oh, did you have a podcast once? That's what they'll say.
They'll be like, hey, you're those guys with a podcast. And we'll be like, what do you mean? Everyone on YouTube?
It does seem... it does seem that there are a lot of podcasts popping up on YouTube now. Of course, there were before as well, but I just think I'm noticing them more regularly now that I feel like it's our space.
We basically invented podcasting, so they're all stealing our idea.
I invented the vlogcast last night.
Don't tell them about the vlogcast.
Right. So last night...
Don't tell them the big money idea.
Don't censor me. What are you, Twitch?
What are you, some sort of simp?
Right. So I got this idea, which I can't do because I'm not a vlogger and I will not vlog for various reasons that it would be uninteresting. My life is not that interesting. But if you were interesting enough to have a vlog and a podcast, what if you incorporated vlog elements into your podcast, right? You just would watch videos that you could then put on the screen for everyone to see of stuff you were doing in your life, and then you could sort of comment around it on the podcast. That's the vlogcast TM, ordinary things.
So for example, if for example we went for coffee this morning,
yes.
we could be on the podcast now and be like, oh, do you remember when we went for that coffee this morning? It was really nice. I had a nice one with sugar in it, and then you'd cut to the vlog of us getting that coffee. Yeah, innovative. It's like you're both there with us, but you're also there with us after we did it.
It's like
talking about it.
It's like the Simpsons bit about like nuts and gum. It's like nuts and gum together at last. It's like vlogs and podcasts together at last. No one wanted the combination of these two things, and yet here it is.
Now you can have all of the boring detail of being with us when we went to do a mundane activity, and you don't have to miss out on us relaying that information secondhand afterwards. You
It's
get
both.
You get the substance of both worlds.
While this is obviously a stupid and non-functional idea, I do love the notion that it's basically like you put flashbacks into a podcast. You're just like, remember when we were getting coffee earlier today? Let's have a look at what that looked like.
Do you remember when we were getting beaten up by that gang of youths? It's just, ow, ow, ow. Then cut to us with black eyes, like, yeah.
There's some CCTV footage of that. It would be great. We could start that podcast, and I've just got like a neck brace on and like
Nice.
2 black eyes, and I'm just like, bet you're really looking forward to this episode of the Vlogcast. Cut to CCTV footage of us getting street beaten.
And you'd be like, well, if this was a regular podcast, you wouldn't get to see that.
World Star in the background.
World Star! It's so good. Imagine having that much brand recognition that all around the world, your brand is so well recognized for being present at fistfights that there is always at least one person at the scene of a fistfight willing to shout, World Star!
I think by virtue of being in a situation where a fight is likely to occur, you're also more likely to have that space peopled with the kind of people who would say, World Star! At the possibility of someone getting their neck broken.
Who started it? The first person? Because World Star must have been hosting fight videos for many years. And then at a certain point, somebody saw a fight and they were so excited that it was going to go on to World Star that as soon as they started recording, they made sure that they shouted, World Star! And then from there, people saw that and said, when I see an on-street assault going on and decide to film it, I too will scream World Star at the start. And before you knew it, a domino effect.
Yes, that's right. It just spread like wildfire. There was a time, I would say circa 2014, 2015, where in London you could hear the phrase World Star. You'd be on a night, after it was 9 o'clock, you're on a busy street where there's a lot of drunk people. You're almost guaranteed to just hear it in the back, just hear it somewhere in the ether. World Star. And you knew that shit was popping off somewhere.
Man, how could we start something with the equivalent interest, you know? Like that's been taken, right? Witnessing instead of like you witness a street fight and you scream World Star. What if you say you witness some kind of theft or fraud?
Fraud? Witness to fraud?
Well, no, you don't really witness fraud.
Theft, yeah.
You witness a finessing, and then you could shout something. You know, it'd be like a softcore version. We should just go back to when you witness a social injustice. Instead of screaming World Star, you should have another phrase that you can scream at people who are doing wrong.
I prefer your stop. You're being an arsehole.
Stop there. You are doing a bad. No. I think the social justice police.
Social justice police.
Social justice police. Not that kind of social justice.
No, more like petty social goings on. That's the police we need.
You know what?
Deserve.
In the world, there's just a lot of people doing some fuck shit, and they need to be stopped. Stop it. Fuck you. You're bad. You're being a dick. Although, to be fair, I haven't been socially wronged too much the past few days, so I actually feel quite good. Have we been socially wronged?
No, we've had no dodgy social interactions. I witnessed some stuff recently.
What did you witness?
When I was in town, I witnessed some classical rudeness. Maybe some slightly nasty things in general. You know what? This is a bad path of conversation that I'm not going to go down. I've decided.
Grim things seen on the street is always a crazy thing to speak about, because at least anybody that's lived in an urban area or spent a lot of time in an urban area will have seen some fucked up shit.
The one that always comes to mind for me is when I was in LA. You were there too. And on Sunset Boulevard.
Hollywood Boulevard,
sorry. In the, what's it? The doorway of a McDonald's. Some guy shooting heroin on Hollywood Boulevard.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. He's loving it.
He's really loving every moment of it. Well, I mean, every moment when he's been injected with the heroin. I imagine the lead up to that event is full of shame and pain.
It's just
Cold.
like, at what point you're just like, oh, I've just scored some smack, but I need to shoot it up somewhere. Where can I shoot it up? What could possibly be an appropriate place? Oh, here we go. Hollywood Boulevard, Walk of Fame, literally just on the street outside of the most busy McDonald's I could possibly find. That's where I'll sit and shoot dope. That's the spot for me.
That was like, this is my priority. That is a declaration of like, nothing matters to me other than this heroin. And to a certain extent, I go, well, fair play. There's no shame with you, buddy. You are living the life you have chosen to live.
It's a big statement, isn't it? He's basically saying to the world, no, this heroin is far more important than your feelings. And I will shoot this dope on the Walk of Fame where I deserve to be.
Ultimately, I admire anyone who's committed to their passion. So how dare I even judge him?
He was a good dope fiend, I would say. I would say that that's like doing well for a dope fiend. It was just like, you know what? You're not bothered about what people think. You're still doing your thing for all to see, you know? We all know how well you're doing in some ways.
That's right. It's just, you're living life honestly. And again, I think that's respectable.
Living life on the edge.
Definitely, yeah.
To be some sort of dope fiend in LA, yet still be on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. There's like a nice dual, what's the word? Culture clash to that I think is very profound, you know, because a lot of people, I feel like that was like a really profound experience being in LA, seeing a junkie shoot up dope outside McDonald's.
Like around a load of tourists.
Yeah,
it's like tourist heavy area of LA, and there he is, and it's just like, that's what's beautiful about Los Angeles, and why when I first visited the city, hated it for lots of reasons. Second visit, I saw its value, and its value is the same thing I hated about it, which is that it's a city that doesn't give a fuck if you live or die. And obviously that's not pleasant in some ways, but in other ways that's awesome, because it's just like, truly, if you want to live free here, you can. You've just got to graft real hard.
It's true. That's the beautiful thing about America. You can be anyone you want, you know. You can come to LA and have a dope career and end up on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, or you can come to LA and have a dope career and end up on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
That is the lesson. That is the American gambit in so many ways. It's like win or lose. Yeah.
Winner takes all.
Shut up. I have my phone out on the podcast. I will not do that from now on.
What if there were hot business deals coming through that you can't possibly miss out on due to being on the podcast?
That's right. I've got a lot of business deals to be going on with. So yeah, no, thanks for the phone forgiveness. Won't happen again, people. Don't worry.
Got to conduct business at all times. Conducting business, cutting deals. Got to cut them. Is that a deal? Cut.
I love making deals. It's one of my favourite things to do.
You got to make deals.
Yeah.
Got to make deals.
I miss despite making a video about how awful handshakes are, I've missed the handshake after a good deal. It's like, deal made. Handshake.
A good business handshake when you're meeting to get down to business is quite good. Sort of the firm business handshake of just like, I'm on the same wavelength as this guy. The degree to which he has squeezed my hand has indicated me the exact amount of business he is here to do.
Yes, exactly.
Sometimes the squeeze is too hard, and they're here to do far more business than you were.
So I wasn't prepared for this level of business. This squeeze indicates more business than I bargained for.
That's more business than I can handle currently, that squeeze.
If they do the hand turnover, so you know you're done. It's like they're not here to conduct business on in a fair manner. They're here to dominate the business. They're here to do their own business, potentially on me.
Yeah. So they're going to do the business to me. I'm going to have my business handled, for better or for worse. The hand squeeze, man. Just don't squeeze hands too hard. Yeah, listen, firm is good. Let them know you're there. But my God, the handshake squeeze. Grow up. Grow up.
I agree.
No need.
A very light squeeze, I think, is permissible, because there's something like friendly about that. I'm just like, I acknowledge you. Yeah, that's fine. But the finger crunch, that is, I think, is evidence of a general insecurity.
Totally. Because it seems to you there's a whole lot riding on the strength of your handshake. To me, I could care less. I could give you a wet fish and it ain't shit. But because it doesn't matter to me. My value as a man doesn't hinge on how hard I'm squeezing your hand in this handshake. But you meet some people, and that's clearly what's going on.
As someone with like quite girl-like slender hands, I think maybe this is just something that irks me in particular.
It's true.
But anyway, that doesn't matter, because as always, we are nearing the end of the podcast, and therefore we have to speed things up. We have 20 seconds. Let's ask a big question. When you're dead, how do you want to be buried or not buried? What is the solution for that one?
I want to be buried in a large mausoleum surrounded by gold.
Like it, I want to be shot from a cannon into space, hopefully towards Jupiter. All right, bye.